that didn't pan out, and some coaches that we're gonna get into, just talking about should they still be there or should they be gone. I got I got two in mind that should be gone. Just right off the bat, I'm gonna leave that for y'all at the end. But let's talk about Atlanta first. Um, here's my feeling on this. In Atlanta, we're in Atlanta, so um, I I don't think Raheem should have. I think Arthur Blank should have kept Raheem for another year, because this was his second year, and with you winning 4 games down the stretch, and when you look at it, the whole division, the top 3 teams, all of them 8 and 9, right? So it wasn't like one team ran away with it or 2 teams ran away with it. They turned it around. I mean, not only getting rid of Raheem, but also getting rid of the GM Fontenot. Fontenot has been there for 5 years, but when I look at the team that he has put together now, I want to hear you guys take on this. They don't have a first round pick that's going to the Rams, right? Um, and so uh, Fontenot, with what the team that he put together over these last couple years, they have some really young, nice talent. They got some talent. You could see what that talent was able to do for this last 4 stretch. These last 4 games, they actually look like a team that, if Raheem would have stayed in there, that man, they could have trajectory. What I think is going to happen in Atlanta, and this isn't a race thing or anything like that. So I don't want to get into that. However, there's going to be a coach. I feel like sometimes this is the second year that this happened. Mayo got one and done, right? Mayo was one and done. Raheem got two and done. And there's not many coaches of melanin color that actually get the benefit of the doubt from what I'm seeing, unless there's some differences, unless you guys can tell me otherwise. But I'm seeing this as a trend, and these guys aren't getting the opportunities that they should be. But bottom line for me is, in this is, I think with what Raheem did over these last few games, and what Fontenot did putting this organization together, somebody's going to come in and inherit this, and they are going to look like a genius. They're going to look like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is what the Falcons could do. I mean, oh my, and Falcons going to the playoffs and this and that and that. I could see that happening. And so yeah, I'm just let y'all jump in on this, man, because that kind of, I don't know.
They're going to look like Vrabel right now with the Patriots.
Vrabel, yeah,
They're going to look like Vrabel. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that is
He
true. Yeah,
inherited he got put in a really good situation. Gerard Mayo, who was the coach, the year before, he didn't have any of the assets
right,
that Vrabel has now, except for, of course, Drake May, right?
right,
But at that time, Drake May, he didn't have a line. Their first round draft pick was a offensive lineman. He did get hurt, but they did shore it up in other areas on that line. And then you brought in, McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, who we know he's the quarterback whisperer at that position, not head
right.
coach, but as an OC. And now Drake May is playing like he's a young Tom Brady. And so Vrabel now looks like he's, like he was the catalyst, which I don't think there's much of a difference between his style of coaching and Gerard Mayo.
Yeah,
Going to the Falcons, man, I mean, it's like, where do you start, right? Because I think if you really want to kind of dive into this situation, and the fan base here in Atlanta, they were at their wits end. Like, there's a really short fuse, short rope for anyone that comes in, and because this has been spanning for many, many, many years with this fan base, like they have zero tolerance now. You got to come in. Unfortunately, you have to win right away, which we all know that's a difficult thing to do in this
yeah,
league. But And it's unfortunate because I think Raheem Morris is a good coach, and I would have liked for him to get at least another year based off of how everything was kind of shaken out at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Fontenot, on to his credit, he had some pretty good draft picks.
Hmm.
Like he hit on most of his first rounders, right? If you look at his first round picks, he hit on Drake London, he hit on Bijan Robinson. I know you know there's with Kyle Pitts,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah. Yeah.
you're giving your takes there, but Kyle looked like he was starting to catch on, but it was a contract year as well, so
Yeah.
you take that with a grain of salt. But even some of the later picks, like Tyler Algier, the running back, he was a good pick, and he had a lot of good supporting picks in the later rounds under Fontenot. But again, I think the reason why Fontenot left or he got fired along with Raheem is because uh, Arthur Blank he's gutting the entire organization right from the top down because Rich McKay, the president of football operations, he got canned as well. So
Hmm.
I think what Blank is saying is that over the past 10 some odd years that McKay's been there and looking at the back and forths and the instabilities that he's seeing from the GM position, from the coaches, particularly the coaching positions over the last 5 years since Quinn had left.
Yeah.
He's like, we need someone to come in and really just steady the ship and get it right from the top, which is what you should do. You should try to get it right from the top, and then if you get it right from the top, it's going to matriculate down. And I think, unfortunately, Raheem got kind of caught up in that in that draft. So uh, if he picks the right guy at that president position,
Yeah.
the Falcons should be okay. But that's a big if. I question Arthur Blank's ability to identify talent and hire the right people and the right personnel. Because right now it's going to be, which it is always on the owner, but
Hmm.
now it is definitely on him. If he doesn't get this position right, get the right candidate, then all of this is going to be for naught.
You know what? Real quick, Doc, before you jump in here, the name that I've been hearing is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan.
I
So,
heard that too. Yeah,
yeah.
I did hear that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Doc.
No, no, and the tricky thing about it is, it's a guy with, as far as we can tell, no experience, but everyone knows him and respects him for what he's done with the organization, right? So it's just going to be like a John Lynch with the Niners, where like the guy becomes the GM and does a really good job. John Elway with the Broncos, or it's just going to be like a Matt Millen with the Detroit Lions, right?
I forgot about
And
that.
so like you just
That was
so
bad.
yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. Like you just don't know, right? Now hearing the guy as a commentator, he seems to know what he's talking about, right? And honestly, it seems like just at that position, the GM and your president just being competent seems to give you a leg up, because there's some folks with those jobs that really shouldn't have those jobs.
Yeah.
Um, I think, looking back at the whole situation with Raheem Morris and the Falcons, because you'd think, hey, you won four straight, you tied for the conference, win loss record with 8-9. You didn't get to the playoffs,
Yeah.
but why would you get fired? But you look at the guys who also interviewed for that job 2 years ago, right? Mike Vrabel interviewed. They looking good with New England,
Not because of him.
right? Um, Liam Cohen interviewed, looking good, right?
He looks good.
Um, Now, Bill Belichick's a whole other situation, right? But you go with somebody in terms of Raheem Morris, where there was um, the organization was familiar with him,
Hmm.
and so the thought was, hey, we know this guy, we trust this guy, he'll lead us. We'll see how things go, and then things just did not work out, and so you're constantly hearing there's all this talent, but the talent's not being maximized, and that tends to fall on the head coach, right? Now, whether you're getting enough talent or not, that's the GM. But the talent not being maximized, folks look to the head coach. And then, secondly, the whole situation with you spend all this money to get Kirk Cousins, and then you draft, Penix in the first round. there seems to be a bit of disconnect between the GM and the head coach too. Now, where I agree with how Lee puts it. Arthur Blank's just like we're just starting from scratch. It's a clean slate from the top down. Let's just start anew and see how things go. But whether it's Matt Ryan or somebody else, that president, the GM, the head coach, they got to figure out quickly how they're going to organize this team because the tight end seems good, the wide receiver seems good, the running back's amazing. But going against Carolina and Tampa Bay and New Orleans will be better next year. You got to get your stuff straight really fast.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't. I don't know. Is can is Penix in you guys' opinion? Would you is he a franchise quarterback that you can say? I mean, there's a small sample size for Penix, but um, I know Lee, you had talked about injuries with him before in the past. Can
Yep.
he really? And I know we don't know, but in you guys' opinion, like how do you feel about Penix in Atlanta, and can they actually build around him with this team?
He has the talent. He has the talent to be a franchise quarterback. But like I said before, guys, like when it comes to particularly the quarterback position, any position in the NFL, but this quarterback position, you need help and you need to be put in the right place. You need the right coach, you need the right infrastructure, you need the right personnel. You need the right scheme. You take a quarterback and he could have all the talent in the world, but if you put him in a scheme that doesn't uh, complement his skill sets, then he's going to look like a bust. He's going to look, inadequate. So with Penix, the problems are, I believe, uh, on the coaching and the scheme side of things. Uh, when he was in college, he played the majority of his snaps was out of the shotgun. He comes into the NFL, and what the Falcons did is they tried to adapt to that, but I don't think they did enough of they didn't take too much time in trying to get him comfortable under center. Because if you're always in the shotgun, it limits your ability to diversify your offense against the defense. You're easy to read, and so he was in a position where basically, after a couple of games, couple of you watch a couple of film, you got him. You can read him dead to rights.
Yeah,
So they have to do a better job coaching him up, not just acquiescing to his skill sets and get him to be and evolve into the quarterback that we think he can actually be. He has to be able to take snaps from understanding. He has to be able to understand and read defenses, understand blocking schemes, and then go from there. But that's going to take time and coaching. He had that year off. I don't know what they were doing with him. I mean, I would have had him taken like even if he was just with the you know with the B team, right? Just go out there and just take snaps. Doc, you know about this, right? When we were playing back in the day, right? You got to go in there. You got to learn how to take those snaps, take those drops, and just beat that into him. I don't think they were doing that. So, but I would say this in terms of the talent, no one throws a ball like Penix.
yeah,
Like I think when it comes to to his arm talent coming into the league, he was top 5 arm talent wise, easily.
yeah,
I agree with that. I think he is his arm talent is amazing. Just purely arm talent. Mi- Joe Burrow's close. I'm not talking arm strength, but I'm talking the ability to throw a great intermediate to deep ball from the pocket. His ball comes out effortlessly. It's like Ken Griffey swinging the bat. Like his balls are pretty. All right, you just love to watch him throw. Um, Part of the issue, getting back to the scheme thing that Lee mentioned, is a lot of us do a lot of like short to intermediate stuff. That's not his strength. His strength is going vertical. He's intermediate to deep, which should complement the running game, where you're trying to bring those safeties in to stop the running game, and then you go vertical with a quarterback that can hit the guy deep, right? So you have Drake Leonard on one side. You need a speedster on the other side to stretch the defense vertically, and you put those safeties in the bind. You make the DC have issues. Like, how are they going to kill us? Are they going to bludgeon us? Are we going to kill us softly with Bijan, or are they going to go for the home run going deep? Right. So first off, the scheme's not right. Now, secondly, he has an issue with injuries. He got injured again. I think it's his third time with that ACL. Hopefully, that doesn't end up being the big thing down the road. But in terms of his ability to play, in terms of his ability to be a franchise quarterback, yeah, he's got that in spades. I don't
Yeah,
think that's an issue.
yeah,
But if you're trying to go West Coast offense, that's not his skill set.
yeah,
The Drew Brees kind of offense is not his skill set. Now you're talking about uh um back in the day, Air Coryell, yeah, that's the kind of offense where he would look great in the vertical passing game because his arm talent's immense. So
well, hopefully whoever the Falcons bring in, from that GM role and the head coaching role, that they have this in mind, which I'm sure they do. They're smarter than I am, and so hopefully they definitely have that in mind. So
hey, hey, no, I'm not sure because the team had 2 years with him and they
Yeah.
didn't figure that out.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You look at his tape at Indiana before Cincinnati. Look at his tape at University of Washington. It was not east west. It was north south. He was
yeah,
going vertical,
yeah,
and he was. I mean, he was dropping dimes, right?
yeah.
So at a bare minimum, you figure out what he was doing. You call DeBoer, whatever he was doing at Washington. Can we get that playbook? And let's put that playbook in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, um, you got that going on in Atlanta, and then you got something else going on in Cleveland. And I could truly say, Kevin Stefanski is out in Cleveland, and we had talked about this. We had talked about this, some weeks back, where we were like, the GM and head coach really not. Something's going on. Something's going on
Yeah.
there, and there's this power struggle going on in Cleveland, and so now we see Stefanski is gone. Barry is keeping his position, obviously. So we'll see how who comes in there at for head coach. Stefanski is a two-time, not one, two-time coach of the year. So from what I'm hearing, he's going to be one of the hot coaches. And that's out there and available right now. So this is going to be interesting in Cleveland. I definitely want to see what who Barry's going to bring in there and as head coach, and I want to see what they're also going to do at the quarterback position. If they're going to stick are they getting rid of one of these guys, or are they going in the draft and they're going to pick somebody coming out the draft. I
Oh,
don't know. So that's going to be interesting.
oh, they getting rid of one of them guys. And
Yeah,
you know who they getting rid of.
yeah,
It
yeah.
ain't gonna be Shador.
It's not on East Door. Yeah, 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 yeah.
11-5, 8-9, 7-10, 11-6, 3-14, 5-12. That is the record for the two-time coach of the year. And I'm going to presume the 11-5 and the 11-6 when they made the playoffs, he got coach of the year. And everyone just kind of ignores the 8-9, 7-10, 3-14, 5-12, right?
Yeah.
So, and realize you going up against Baltimore, you going up against Pittsburgh, so you gotta be good because those teams are gonna be good pretty much every single year. But still, for the defense that they have, and I believe when he came on, this was after that last regime, they had a whole bunch of first round picks,
Yes.
right? And the talent they supposedly had at quarterback, wide receiver, running back, yeah, it hasn't happened. And then this year in particular has just kind of been a bit of a fiasco in trying to navigate who's the quarterback, how much time is he getting, how are we doing our 2 point conversions? Do we always do our 2 point conversions this way? All that kind of stuff. So it just came across as if the quarterback who ended up being the starter at the end of the year was not who the head coach wanted as quarterback, and a bit of a power struggle between how that's going to play out. Why else would you trade a quarterback to your hated rival in the middle of the season? And so seems as if Andrew Berry has won that power struggle. Stefanski's a free agent. I'm sure someone's going to sign him. I'm sure he's going to be head coach someplace else.
Yeah.
And I wish that team the best of luck too.
Yeah. Best of luck.
I mean, I think Stefanski is going to be all right. I think he's a heck of a coach. I really do. I think he's a really good coach. You riddled out those records, Doc, and what really kind of sticks out for me is when of course the 3-14 and the 5-12. The year prior to all of that, 2023, he was 11-6, right? Trying to figure out who was the starting quarterback that year. Was that Deshaun? Yeah, it was
I think
Deshaun.
Sean was
Deshaun was
partly,
it?
at least part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a part of it. You're right. So he got put in a situation where I think he just found himself without a quarterback because Deshaun did end up getting hurt, and so he doesn't have a quarterback. There was no contingency plan, and I wouldn't imagine any team of a contingency plan having given Deshaun Watson the type of salary that they gave him in that trade. That blockbuster job was just crazy.
Yeah.
So we all know you could be the best coach in the world, Belichick, and if you don't have a quarterback, then right you're gonna look pretty mediocre,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
No.
with Stefanski, I give him a pass for those 2 years. Last year, of course, was just a complete debacle because you can definitely see, like you said, Lynx, he and Barry, they just were not on the same page. You saw it on draft day, right? In round one, when when the picks were being made and they were just stoic, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the war room.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that going on, and you're picking two quarterbacks in the same draft, and then you're juggling who's gonna start, who's gonna get the second the second position, who's gonna be the third guy. Like it was just it was a complete mess.
Yeah.
I think Stefanski, just talking the team that we were talking about prior to this, what should probably pick. Well, I was gonna say he should pick the Falcons,
Falcons.
right?
Yeah.
But the jury is out because you have to see how that front office is gonna pan out,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I think wherever he goes, he's gonna be real selective about the stability of the organization after having dealt with the Browns
Mm-hmm.
for these years.
Yeah.
And luckily for someone like him, because he's going to be in such high demand, I think he's going to have his pick. He's going to be
Yeah.
able to have a decision in terms of which organization he's going to actually land with. But
Yeah.
if I was the
Yeah.
Falcons, if I was the Titans with Cam Ward, right, I would try to move heaven and earth to try to get Stefanski as my
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out like when did this power struggle begin? Did this him and Matthew Berry, had they been having this power struggle in previous years, or because of the Deshaun Watson debacle and that didn't work out, then I would like to have known like when did this actually bubble up to the surface? When did
Well,
this become a thing?
I think the power struggle is actually three ways because when you look at the whole Deshaun Watson thing, I don't think Andrew Barry was the one that pulled the trigger on actually having that trade go
On that,
through,
yeah, yeah,
right? I think that was the owner. The owner wanted Deshaun Watson
mm,
because if you
yeah,
recall, Deshaun he was dealing with that scandal
yep, yep,
with the messieurs, right, masseuses or whatever you call whatever the plural word is for
yeah,
that. But he was dealing with that, and then uh, there was a lot of scrutiny behind the Browns actually going out and getting him, and the Browns owner had during the press conference basically, you know, gave a stamp of approval, said,
right,
"Hey, this, don't judge him. Hey, no stone was left unturned. We checked he checks all the boxes. He's good."
mm,
Not a lot of owners do that, right?
right,
So
yeah,
that seemed like that was an owner-driven move,
yeah,
and so you have all of these different nuances going on with this organization, and I don't think anyone really is, running the ship there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoever steps into that is going to be interesting. They're gonna have to figure that out there in Cleveland. Um, Now we head out west and we go to Las Vegas, and so with Pete Carroll being gone, is his son also gone? Is the whole coaching staff gone? I mean, I'm interested to know. I was trying to look this
Sons,
up to see. Hey, look, if Daddy gone, then
sons,
hey, I might be
Plural.
gone too, right?
Sons
sons.
plural.
It's,
Yeah, it's two. It's
that's
two
right.
kids.
That's right. It's not even one,
Yeah.
right? So, um, yeah, this is going to be interesting, and this has to be somebody who's coming in here, has a talented player on the defensive side, has a talented player on the offensive side. Ashton Genty, he just picked up, and Max Crosby, right? And they just gave him a contract, so he just got a contract. So they got two pieces. They got a lot of building that they got to do. I would hope they would try to find a younger-ish coach or somebody like Liam Cohen, who went down here. Who's I think he's a heck of a coach, for what he's doing. I didn't know about him. I know you knew about him, but I didn't know anything about him. But it seems like he's doing a heck of a job. So somebody like that needs to go into Las Vegas. But they got their work cut out for them down there. But Pete Carroll, one and done, man. And it's just yeah. If the sun's still there, boy, I don't know how that's gonna work out.
Bill Belichick worried because all the heat he was going to get this year, that all went and shifted towards Pete Carroll as the older head coach who clearly don't seem to have it anymore. The fastball don't seem to be there anymore because it was a fiasco with the Las Vegas Raiders. For what was supposed to happen, you figure, okay, we got this guy who's going to come in and stabilize the ship and at least get us going for 2, 3 years until we get our next head coach who made this to the promised land. And furthest thing from the truth, right? They don't know how to use Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, who was a decent quarterback and had a decent career in Seattle with Pete Carroll. Don't look like he knew what he's doing. There's
Yeah.
no offensive line, which gets back to the whole son being offensive line coach and not getting fired during the season. Um, the GM John Spytek, he's going to need to figure out who this head coach is going to be. I don't know how much Tom Brady's going to be involved with this. I don't know how much Davis, the owner, is going to be involved in trying to figure out who this head coach is. If I was them, I would really look at Joe Brady because Joe Brady is a very good offensive minded coach. He was the one when
Hmm.
back in the day with
Right.
LSU when LSU was killing people that one year with Joe Burrow and Jamar
Chase.
Chase and Justin Jefferson. He was
Justin
the
Jefferson.
co-offensive coordinator. He's the coordinator this year for the Buffalo Bills, where uh, Cook is like I think leading the league in rushing alongside Josh Allen. He seems to be versatile enough as an offensive coordinator to try to make things work. So, but yeah, they need to figure things out and fast because Denver ain't going nowhere. The Chargers are going to get better, and this is an off year for the Chiefs, but they're not in a complete rebuild. So you got to get your ducks in a row real quick.
Yeah. The Raiders, they went offensive coach before with Josh McDaniel. And I don't know if they may be a little bit gun shy about going that route again. If you want to coach, I think this is another one of those situations where you want someone that has some experience, I would say, to come in because the team is a bit of a mess. Um, and then but you do want someone that's savvy on the offensive side as well. So it's going to be a little bit tricky because now they have the number one overall pick,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they got to get him a quarterback, and so this coach has to be he has the opportunity to pick his guy, but you got to make sure you pick the right guy.
Right guy.
You got to pick the right guy, and the right guy doesn't necessarily mean that this guy is the best player. It just means that this guy fits your vision.
Yep.
Do you have a vision? What's that vision? So it's going to be tricky. I don't know. I think they said Brady's going to have a hand in the selection. I don't know if that's the right thing or not. I don't
Yeah.
know what Brady's talent is in terms of evaluating
Evaluating. Yep.
right talent and prospects like that. So that's going to be interesting. But what's the GM's name? Spivey?
Spytech.
Spytech?
Yeah.
So it sounds like a corporation.
Yep.
Spytech. But yeah, it's on him. It's on him because he didn't get axed. He's still there, so he has to figure this out. He has to get the right coach, and then they have to come together and pick the right get the draft pick right. This can go one or two ways. One or two ways. There's no middle ground here. This is going to be just a complete disaster, or it's going to be a boon for the organization.
Yeah. You know. Go ahead, Doc.
No. And to Lee's point, it's like, hey, you want a coach with experience, but they just had a coach with experience and he only lasted a year, right?
That's too much experience.
Too much.
I said some. I said some experience.
Not a career's worth, right?
Yeah.
Right? But the GM came on in 2025, so this was the GM's first year. So you still have a fairly inexperienced GM, which is another reason you want to have a head coach with some experience to help that GM figure things out, right? But again, ideally, that head coach has an offensive mind, so you're not trying to find a new offensive coordinator every year to 2 years to couple with the quarterback you draft in Ashton Janty and your tight end, right? So like for a bunch of reasons, an offensive minded head coach, but to find that offensive minded head coach with coaching experience that's well respected, I guess besides Stefanski, is going to be tough to find. I wouldn't put it on Dayball. No offense to Dayball. I don't think Dayball's the guy.
I was gonna throw Dable out there. I was like, Dable work with quarterbacks. If he don't get antsy like he did with darts and try to get him killed, but I was gonna say Dable.
Yeah, Dayball's good with Josh Allen. If you can get Josh Allen for the Raiders, then maybe. But outside of that, I don't know. All right.
I mean, look, man, I don't know. I like Daboll as well. I like him as an offensive coordinator, and I think he was decent as a head coach.
I like Dayball too, right? When you kind of take a look at what Daniel Jones did with Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
and then when Daniel Jones left, I think
Never mind. Forget it. Yeah. I forgot.
right?
Yeah.
So-
That was that's criminal.
Yeah,
looking
that's
at
bad
what
all.
how Daniel Jones played it. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But going back to the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
I think the GM should have gotten fired.
Yeah.
Right, because you have to question some of the, especially just going back to last year's draft. I really like Ashton Genty as a player, right? When we were evaluating, he was one of the top guys on my board, right? Like I think I was like, this guy, he's going to be awesome. But you're going to pick a running back. Where was it? 10th? No, it was 6th.
6. Yeah.
And you don't have an offensive line,
No.
and you don't have an offensive line.
Yeah.
Okay, so you being the GM, that's malpractice. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And you bring in the head coach's son as the offensive line coach.
Well, you signed off on it.
He said, I know an offensive line coach. I know one.
Well, the thing is with the GM, when you hire the head coach, you leave it to the head coach to hire his personnel. But to your point, Doc, you
got to sign off on it.
You got to sign off on it. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would have retained the GM if I was getting rid of Carroll. The GM would have gone to him because these picks, some of the moves that he made, it's questionable.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So
why didn't they get Daniel Jones?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. That is true. That is true. That's a good question. So they got some
Yeah.
work to do there in Las Vegas, man. So that's gonna be interesting to see how they too, how they go about picking this the coach that's gonna be take over for Pete Carroll. But all right, so um, in Arizona, Jonathan Gannon is gone. I think we saw this. We saw the writing on the wall. I think Jonathan Gannon also saw the writing on the wall as well throughout the season. Kyler Murray is gone, is out. I don't even know if Kyler Murray is gonna be. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, Jonathan Gannon is out. I think he was there what 3 years? 3 years, I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator before that for the Eagles, and he did an okay job there. As defensive coordinator. I like our defense coordinator now, even better. But so yeah, I mean, I think Jonathan Gannon. I don't know if he gets another job. I don't even think he's going to be a top
Not
prospect.
as a
I
head
think
coach.
he's going back to being a coordinator.
Yeah.
That's his best bet right now. Get your feet wet back at the coordinator spot, defensive coordinator somewhere. Some with all these coaching changes that's going to happen. Somebody's going to need a defensive coordinator. So maybe he sneak in somewhere with somebody else. But yeah, Jonathan Gannon out in Arizona. What's you guys' take on that?
4-13, 8-9, 3-14.
Yeah.
And I do have
You
question
lost.
issues with Kyler Murray. You had Kyler Murray. You had an above average quarterback. I ain't gonna say top 10, but you had an above average quarterback. Um, I think the question becomes more likely than not, Kyler Murray's not going to be a quarterback next year. You got the number 3 pick in the draft, so you can pick a quarterback. It's just who you going to pick because there's not an obvious Caleb Williams type quarterback in this draft. There's a lot of quarterback talent if you know what you're doing and you're trying to find a guy that fits your scheme. But there's a lot of B to B plus quarterbacks coming out. There's just no A plus guys coming out this year, in my opinion. You've got Colin McBride, great tight end. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. at wide receiver. You still got Buda Baker. So you do have a few guys who are very much above average to like top 10 at that position. But you need to build a team because you are in the same division as the Seahawks, the
Oh,
Rams, and the
yeah, boy.
Niners.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. You're in trouble.
yeah,
You're in trouble.
that's tough. That
Yeah,
is tough sledding.
yeah,
You gonna have that fourth place schedule for the next few years. So
yeah,
you got to build long term.
yeah. They're gonna be holding on to that tight.
I wish they kept him. I mean, just just being honest with you. Give him another year, man. Give him another year. Let's work that out.
Oh
Look,
man.
I think Jonathan Gann. This one was a no-brainer.
Yeah,
There's no defense. He lost his last 9 games this season, 9 in a row. Okay,
yeah.
and I don't know if you guys ever saw that clip. There was in 2023 he was having a pep talk with his team, and if you haven't seen it,
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Google it.
That was
Google
bad.
it. Right?
Yeah.
It was. Doc, did you see it?
No, no,
Whenever you
Oh
get a chance,
man.
no.
if you want to laugh,
Yeah.
right? If you ever feeling down and you need something to kind of pick you up, just watch his pep talk.
Jonathan Gannon pep talk.
John 2023,
2023.
Jonathan Gannon pep talk. As a matter of fact, just put Jonathan Gannon pep talk and it's gonna come up.
About
Yeah.
It'll pop up, right? He is a coach. He was out of his depth, and that pep talk that crystallized it. Like this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing
Yeah.
as a head coach, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't see him landing another head coaching position immediately after this. He's gonna have to spend some time kind of reevaluating and building himself back up if he ever hopes to get another opportunity. But he didn't get anything right. When you look at his records, the offense was never clicking much with him. The defense wasn't really dominant, and he's a defensive minded coach. So yeah, he's going to probably have to go back and be a defensive coordinator, if that, somewhere else. If the Eagles feel some sort of sympathy for him, he'd probably come back there, not as a DC, not as a DC, but maybe as an assistant on one of the positions, something like
We
that.
got enough. We got enough of Sirianni boys on the team. We ain't need
But
no
he
more.
was good though. But Gannon was
He
good.
was good, but we
He
ain't
was
need him.
good.
Let him stay
You
where
don't
he
need
at.
him.
Stay where he at.
Well, I hope Raheem comes back to the Rams in
Raheem
some
was good.
capacity.
Yeah,
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 I want
yeah,
Raheem come back to the Rams.
yeah, yeah. Raheem was good. Yeah, man. So okay. So you got a couple openings. You got the openings in New York with the Giants, right? We know Dable was gone earlier in the season, and then in Tennessee, Doc, you said
Brian
Brian.
Wait.
Callahan.
Go ahead.
I don't want us to gloss over the Giants real quick,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I
And I know we were gonna do this a little bit later, right?
yeah. No, go
But
for it.
but I still need someone how is Shane still the GM?
I don't know. I guess him and the owner got something in common. I don't know what's going on over
Who
there.
who was the coach before Dable?
Who was the coach before Dable?
Let me see.
You know what?
Yeah,
And
but
I know the dude too. Um, who's the coach before Dable?
It was it no,
Joe
Joe
Judge.
Judge. Joe
And then
Judge.
Pat Shermer,
I don't even remember Joe Judge.
and then Ben
Joe
McAdoo with
Judge.
Steve Spagnuolo at the very end. Yeah, so Joe Judge. Yeah.
Did Shane pick him?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't
Shane may
know.
have inherited him. Let me see.
That's interesting because you know as Dable was going, look. Well, you think about Shane? Okay, he did have some good picks. I mean, Jackson Dart looked like Jackson Dart looked like he and Scatterboo, and these two this year they look like. And you had the wide receiver that got hurt. What's his name?
Neighbors.
Neighbors. I mean, he had some good
Neighbors.
picks.
He
I
had some
mean,
good picks.
he had some good picks. So I don't
I
know.
I consider you an average GM if your first round picks, especially if they're top 10 picks, actually hit.
Yeah.
What do you do with the second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh round picks?
Scatterboo was a late round pick.
Scatterboo, I think, was like third. And
Yeah, he was a later pick.
Scatterboo was not long for the league, but he is exciting to watch.
No.
Yeah.
So-
He's not gonna be. It was interesting. I didn't expect him to do what he did.
Same.
Scatterboo. I mean, like I said, I talked about Scatterboo before, right? Before the season started. And remember, Lee, I was telling you, I say it might be a
You did.
Scatterboo or
You did.
somebody like
You
that.
did.
But I
You
didn't.
did.
I was just tongue in cheek at that time. I didn't even expect Scatterboo to really.
Links. I would if I was you, I wouldn't have admitted that. You called it. You called it. You should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
too honest. You're too honest.
you called it, man.
Yeah.
I give Shane credit for that third round. I think it was a third round pick. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was a nice pick.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
for what he
All
said.
right. So yeah, I don't know, man.
no,
so you got to trust him now to pick the next coach.
Yeah.
How the whole Saquon Barkley fiasco, then what happens with Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones leaves, right?
Right.
You got to be like,
That's not on Shane though.
But check this out.
It's not a GM?
Real quick.
Well,
check this out.
no, you can't put that all on him because the coach is saying, "Hey, I need another quarterback to fit my scheme." Right? So it obviously it wasn't working. So the GM's job is to give the coach what he needs in order for his team to run. Right?
A year and a half to 2 years after you sign that quarterback to a long-term deal.
Yeah. Right. Timing, right?
Time,
Okay, no, I
time
got
and
you.
position.
Yeah.
Check this out. So so even with Doc, you mentioned Saquon, right? So okay, they Saquon had an All World year last year, right? And Offensive Player of the Year, et cetera, 2,000 yards, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, he could also say Saquon came down back to the normal, right? He could say, okay, we give them 1 year, we give them that year. Saquon wanted to leave. Saquon was hyped up. He wanted to prove something, and he had 1 year. Now he could actually say, "Hey, Saquon did what every other running back, every other good running back would do. You go over 1,000 yards, et cetera, et cetera, and you average. You normal. You're right there in the middle of the
No,
pack."
no,
Um,
no.
so
He went over
can he say that?
2,000 yards. He went over 2,000 yards. Not
Yeah,
one. He
yeah.
went over two. Not every running back could say that.
No, not
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 every.
that. I mean this year. This year.
No,
No, what I'm saying is, I know he kind of came crashing down to earth, but I ask any Giants fan if they would sacrifice, right, years of just purgatory to get that
Yeah,
1 year the Eagles had
1 year.
with
Yeah,
Saquon and a Super Bowl debut to
yeah,
go with that.
yeah, yeah. They'll do it.
and don't forget, normal Saquon and the Eagles are what, third, third, third
Third,
in the
yeah,
playoffs,
yeah, yeah.
and
Got a
they
third
could have been
seed.
number
Yeah,
two. They didn't even try for it,
yeah,
Right.
right?
yeah.
So
Don't
so
remind me. Don't remind me.
so Superman Saquon number one seed, normal Saquon three seed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just throwing it out there, but
I know.
yeah, I would definitely take it. I mean, I loved it. So, yeah, I would take it. I would take Saquon this
Yeah.
year too because when Saquon was with the Giants, I didn't like Saquon because I knew we bottled him up most times, but I also knew he was lightning in a bottle and he could go
Bottle
off at any time. It
anytime.
was just
Mhm.
any time he could go off. And when he didn't, I was like, "Whew, okay, we got through that one." But it could just be one thing and Saquon breaking it out and the whole game is busted wide open. So yeah, I definitely could see that for sure. Um, in New York. So I don't know where they go in New York, but it,
Real,
they got some pieces there in New York that they could work with.
Yeah.
real quick, one of the issues I got with Joe Sheen, if you compare him to Harry Roseman, if you compare him to the Rams GM, right? Those GMs service the head coach. The head coach is like, this is what I envision, and those GMs go above and beyond to go get that for the head coach, right? And to the Rams, when it was Jeff Fisher, Les Snead went and got players for Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher didn't know what to do with them. And then when he
Right.
got now he got McVay, he goes and gets players, and they've been to Super Bowls and got a Super Bowl ring, right? And you always notice around the trade deadline, constantly they're acquiring new players. They are constantly trying to build up the 53-man roster. They are never satisfied. They're constantly trying to figure out who is the backup middle linebacker, who is our fourth safety just in case, right? Shane thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's going to go and do something that he thinks is important for the team at the expense of the head coach, at the expense of the owner. I mean, the owner's like, please don't let Saquon go to any of the team, and especially not the Eagles. Don't worry about it. He won't do good with the Eagles. Yeah, I was wrong on that. Hey, even the broken clock is, right twice. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, owner. I got this, right? And so that's my issue with Joe Sheen, is that he he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, whether he is or not. And I don't think he is. But I don't think he tries to get the head coach what the head coach wants. I think he gets what he thinks should be there, and the head coach has to try to figure that out from what he gives him. And that never seems to bode well in the NFL.
Yeah, or maybe he should be listening to his little son.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I
Nice.
was stifling.
Nice.
The Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, man. Yeah, but I mean, he still got Jackson Dart. So, um, okay, the Titans. Doc, you had mentioned Brian Callahan. I couldn't even remember who was the Titans head coach at that time. They got a quarterback. They have their franchise quarterback there in Cam Ward. Um, you know, and that's about all they got. They need some they need everything. And so they need an O line to protect Cam Ward. You got to build this thing in the trenches. You got to start in the trenches. It's not sexy in the trenches, but this is what's going to get you to where you need to be. Building in the trenches. You got receivers who can catch the ball. So they got a lot of work to do there in Tennessee, and that's another coach that I think they need a experienced coach there in Tennessee also, that actually can work with the GM, and they try to figure something out to get the right players. Please start in the trenches if y'all want to do anything, and then run from there. But if they thinking right out the bat, running back, wide receivers, et cetera, it's going to be a long, 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 long couple of years. So if they start in those trenches, then they could really do something. But yeah, Tennessee is another one.
That's just, pardon my French, but that's a hot mess. You got, you think you might have the quarterback in Cam Ward, and I really don't think there's anything else there. Like that cupboard is pretty bare. Now, you try and look at the glasses 20% full. You have the opportunity to make the roster, make the team what you want it to be. Because I think outside of Cam Ward and I'll be nice, Tony Pollard, everybody else's job is pretty suspect. So ain't no place else to go but up, I guess. But
Yeah.
you're also in the same division with the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Colts. They finished bad the second half of the season, but they were looking really good the first half of the season. So it's not quite the NFC West, but it's a pretty decent division nowadays. So you you got a lot. There's a lot you got to build towards to make your team relevant in that division. And I'm not sure ownership is the kind of ownership that's going to help empower that organization. So that head coach needs to be a really strong head coach to change the culture, because you ain't getting no help from above.
No.
Yeah, I think they definitely have their quarterback. I think Cam Ward, he's definitely the future there. I think he's the first rookie quarterback in franchise history to throw for over 3,000 yards. You look at what he was doing with nothing. Right? If you watched any of the Tennessee games, and you can see that dude was just willing drives,
Yeah.
willing some sort of positive momentum in those games. So they got that piece, right? The Colts don't have that right now because we don't know what's going to happen with Daniel Jones next year after this injury. Is he going to come back? Is he going to be the same player? We don't know, right? But they, the ownership, and this is where it starts with them. I think I forgot the lady's name, but I think inherited the team. Um, but there's no there's no vision. There's no direction, which is why Vrabel wanted to get out of there,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have faith in them actually getting it right with the coach, because I don't think any coach worth that has any clout is going to pick Tennessee.
Mm.
The only thing they got is a quarterback, which is great, right? Like, you want to go somewhere where you have a quarterback, but when you look at all of the other intangibles involved, with again with the owner, with the mess at the GM position, um, you know, they only have one. I think they got a first round pick.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go in there with any confidence as a coach and feel like you're gonna have the adequate support to be able to turn things around. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
They're gonna be built. They're gonna be building for a while. That's a job where I hope the ownership, and everybody there knows. Okay, this is going to be a 3 to 5 year rebuild. To really get back on track. So hopefully they whoever comes in there, they give them some grace in Tennessee, because they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. There's a lot that needs to be done. All right, so I'm just gonna throw out a couple teams here. I'm gonna throw out four teams here, real quick. You got Zach Taylor keeps his job in Cincinnati. You got Mike McDaniel's keeps his job in Miami, and then you got the two, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. What happens there. I'm real quick. I'm just gonna run down this. In Pittsburgh, I definitely think Tomlin isn't going anywhere. Tomlin is gonna be there. He's not going anywhere. Just made the playoffs with old man by the hair of his chinny chin chin. Unfortunately, the young man in Baltimore, the rookie kicker that just missed the field goal at the end of the game. Feel bad for the young man. It wasn't his fault, actually. I mean, because hey, they should have been in a better position, but those guys were balling out to just get to that spot, and he ended up missing it. I don't think that is in Baltimore. I know they were talking about, is Lamar going to be back? Is the coach going to be back? I actually think both of them are going to be back. I think they're going to run it back another year. I think he's going to be back. Tomlin's going to stay again, like I said, in Pittsburgh. I think Baltimore, they're going to run it back. And then Zach Taylor is interesting in Cincinnati. Who's the? I don't even know who's their GM. I don't.
They
I don't
don't
know
have
who.
one. I was waiting for you to ask that question.
Okay, yeah, they don't have a GM.
They don't have a GM.
Really?
They don't have a they have a guy who is director player personnel. He's
Yeah.
the de facto GM. Tobin.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think Duke Tobin is his name.
Wow. That's
He's a de
crazy.
facto
Small
GM.
but mighty.
Small,
That's
but
that
they are
that
so cheap.
that's
I
crazy.
mean, it's ridiculous how. Look,
Yeah.
I don't
That
know how Mike Brown. Mike Brown don't have no. He doesn't have any money.
no. That's
Yeah,
crazy. I did not know that they didn't have a
and I know people here.
GM.
Oh, that's wild. He owns a team, and you saying he don't have any money. What I'm saying is, compared to other owners,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a budget.
Yeah, but that Cincinnati market. Look, I when I was I traveled to Cincinnati, and I was there. The city is nice. The I mean, we even went to the stadium. That surrounding area is nice. That's one of the cleanest downtowns I've ever seen. The team, the fans look like they are loyal for losing for so many years.
Bless their heart.
And it's they I don't understand. You got the talent on the offensive side because you got your receiver, you got your quarterback, you got a running back, so you got players on the offensive side. It's their defense. I mean, it's their defense. They don't have anything on defense, and that's a part of their problem, man. So I don't know. Zach Taylor, should he have I don't know. Do you blame him really? I mean, I don't know. That's one that's up in the air.
No,
Yeah.
no. So a lot of the owners in the NFL made their money doing stuff. Just to expound on what Lee was talking about, right? So like the Ford family with Detroit because of the cars, right? Flying J with the Cleveland Browns, etc., etc. Chicago Bears, Cincinnati Bengals are two I can think of off the top of my head. Where it's like that is how they make their money. Like the family has made their money from the NFL team. They have no other source of income coming in besides the team. So they don't have deep pockets because they have no other means of income, right? So they don't. Those teams tend to not sign big free agents. They tend to not sign their players to like big long-term deals with guaranteed contracts because that money has to be in escrow. That's got to be in the bank for that guaranteed money, right?
Right.
So them signing Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T Higgins is unusual for the Bengals to begin with, and that's why they play around with Trey Hendrickson. They ain't gonna sign Trey Hendrickson,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
And
So
real quick, just a quick note. Shout out to Ramsaholic. Yes, go Rams. Just wanna we, we got a live chat in here. Just wanted to
nice,
acknowledge
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
Rams out
yeah.
here.
but
Representing the Rams. Okay, all right.
but they for those who remember back in the day, the LA Clippers where they just kept the same coach, kept the same GM, but just used the forum, and the Lakers weren't using it, and they were just trying to keep things as low budget as they could. That's kind of what the Bengals do, right? And so, like, when you look at the talent that they have, when you get the number one pick, generational talent, you pick him, he gets hurt, you get a top 10 pick again the next year, and you get who he threw to in college. You lucked out with Hendrickson,
Yeah.
and then because no one really thought Hendrickson was going to do what he did when he came to the Bengals, you still ain't pay him like 3, 4 years later. And what else have they done? Who else have they picked up? Who else have they
Yeah.
drafted? Who else have they traded for? Who else have they signed in free agency? Right, and so it's the Bengals,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, and I know we kind of going a little bit off topic here, but you bring up a good point, Doc. Bears, you better hit this window. You better hit it hard because when Caleb Williams get that contract,
Yeah.
nobody else getting paid.
Nobody getting paid. Yeah.
Nobody else is getting paid,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
gonna have to carry that team by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna have to work it. They're gonna have to work it through the draft league. If they gotta have to hit in the draft,
yeah.
because they got the running back. What's the rookie running back? What's his name?
Monungai.
Monongai. So it looked like they kind of hit a little bit with Monongai running behind uh
Swift.
Swift. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if they could hit with some receivers and hit in the trenches and stuff like that, that's the only way they're gonna be able to do it. Because you're right. Once he get that contract, is a done deal.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you guys think? McDaniels in Miami. Like he did his thing. Did he earn that to keep it? Should he have been gone? I mean, what's y'all take on that?
They they're gonna run it back one more year. Probably not with Tua, but we'll see how things go. I don't think they're gonna get amazingly better, especially in that division with the Patriots and the Bills. Thankfully for Miami, they have the Jets in their division. And then knowing the way things go, it'll be like week 5 or week 7. They'll fire McDaniel, and it's like, why didn't they fire him Black Monday like everybody else did? But they head coach, and so it'll be another kind of wasted year, right? But there's a bit of this some of that dysfunction in Miami. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think he's a decent head coach. I think if he was in an organization that had a lot of infrastructure and leadership from the top, he'd do decently, but not Miami. I don't think he's got the persona to steward that ship, and that's why you see some of the issues in terms of players not respecting head coach and quarterback, and some of the stuff that's happened. Like that's just because that's just not his personality. So
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting situation in Miami because they did fire the GM, right? So
GM
now
is
you
gone.
have
Yeah.
the GM is gone. They kept McDaniels. I mean, look, McDaniel, he's a brilliant offensive mind. He is. And the question was, can he lead men? Is he able to bring a team together and get them focused, get rid of of the dysfunction? And he did that. I was surprised. I didn't think he had it in him, but when you look at
Yeah.
the back half of this season, everything was supposed to was looking like it was spiraling out of control. And all he did was, I think he had to tell his quarterback to shut the hell up and stop saying stupid stuff during the press conferences, because that's where it starts, and that's where the majority of the angst was coming from.
Hmm.
And so once he was able to kind of put a cap on that, everything kind of settled down, and they started to win. They ended up with the same record at one point as the Chiefs. I don't know. I think they have a better record ended up with
yep.
than the Chiefs, right? So he's proven that he can. He's proven that he can get these guys pointed in the right direction. Now the question is, does he have all of the right pieces? And I think that's why the GM got targeted, because he missed on a whole bunch of moves and a whole bunch of draft picks, and now McDaniels is in this unique position of being able to have some input on who that GM is going to be that would help bring in players that fits his vision.
Yeah.
And I think if that does happen and they pick and they get the right guy, to Doc point, I know they're in a tough division, but the Jets are also in that division. Okay. So you're going to probably be better than them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Buffalo doesn't, they're not looking all that great
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So he has the potential of salvaging and having a extending for many many years to come his career in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. I hoped he had got fired. Because we looking for an OC, man. Um, yeah.
Dayball, get
Look at you,
Dayball, like
next level, next level.
Dable.
Nice.
Brian
Yeah.
Dayball.
Yeah. I know him and Jalen worked before. Dable and Jalen Hurts worked before, but
Where at?
out of they when he was in Alabama.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Dayball
Oh,
was there.
Dable was in
Yeah,
Alabama.
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah. Y'all should
yeah,
get. I mean, no. You know what? Don't. What am I talking about?
come on, man, we not even in your division.
Y'all in the NFC. We may actually play y'all in the second round. Um,
Yeah, hey, look,
yeah,
that's a conversation for this next podcast that
another
we're
time,
gonna
another time. Yeah,
coming. Yeah,
another time.
we're gonna talk about that because
Yeah.
I hey, look, yeah, I got something for that. Anyway,
One thing
um,
before we do go, right?
yeah,
Going to the Steelers and Tomlin, and I
Steelers
know
and Tom,
Tomlin.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
were talking about he was under fire, and he's gotten them to the playoffs again, right?
yeah,
We're gonna see what he does in the playoffs, if
hmm,
they're one and done or not. But they've been one and done for the past I don't know how many years.
yeah,
But there was talks about Marcus Freeman, the head coach out of
Mm,
Notre Dame,
yeah.
as a potential candidate for the Steelers.
mm,
And I think Marcus Freeman, he kind of shot it down, saying he was going to stay.
yeah,
I believe if Marcus Freeman had given some consent or an indication that he was interested, things would have been a little bit different,
mm,
right, with the
that's yeah,
Steelers. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that later down the road he does end up being a head coach for the Steelers, Marcus
mm,
Freeman.
yeah,
So we'll see how that
interesting.
goes.
What say ye, Doc? Anything on that?
Uh, my thing with the Steelers and with Tomlin is the Mavs never had a losing record.
Never.
Now the expectations are high in Pittsburgh, understandably so. I think ownership is patient, which is really really good. The stability. The man wins. That being Tomlin. Could you imagine Tomlin being the head coach for the Eagles with the talent the Eagles have the last three, four
That'd be
years?
nice.
Yeah,
That'd be
there we go.
nice.
All right.
Yeah,
That'd be
Um,
dangerous.
yep,
I'd tell him, come on.
right. So he for whatever reason, I don't think he has the talent that he would need to show his coaching greatness. Again, ownership.
Particularly at the quarterback position.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so he does probably more with less than most of the coaches in the league. And so so getting back to Marcus Freeman, if he had shown interest, I think they're to Lee's point, I think they would have probably considered. And it doesn't mean that based on what's going on with the CFP and Notre Dame's trying to finagle their way to get themselves more likely to get into the CFP in the future. I would not be surprised if in a year or two we hear Marcus Freeman's name probably every single year as a potential NFL
Yeah.
head coaching candidate.
hmm,
So, and I think he's smart enough to realize if he's going to leave Notre Dame for the pros, no offense, Jets, but he ain't going to the Jets. He ain't going to the Titans. He's going to a stable organization, which
stable,
means
stable. Yeah, yeah,
Pittsburgh,
yeah,
right?
Pittsburgh is that's
Yeah,
up there.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Stability.
Definitely,
So yeah,
definitely. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna talk about these upcoming games. We're gonna talk about those in a couple days, and just get those on the docket and run down these matchups and stuff like that. I do know, as an Eagles fan, I tell you right now, we looking for coaches. We're looking for some coaches, man. So we'll see, we'll see. But all right, man, we're gonna catch up, talk about these about the AFC NFT playoffs coming up in the next podcast, and so I'll catch you guys on the next one, man.
All right.
All right,
Right. Yep.
yeah.